The first time I saw this episode, I was blown away with the amount of amazing themes it had going on in it. Some of them were explicit, some of them were very subtle, like a hidden stitch that held together the quilted squares of the overt themes. Let's talk about Twilight's test first. It was revealed at the end of the second part that Celestia wanted to see if Twilight would give a self-sacrifice if it meant helping her community. This is something that I very rarely see in this world. It's more likely than not that we will all face a dangerous situation at some point in time during our lives. What do you do when you see someone who needs help getting out of a dangerous situation? Do you run towards them and get them to safety, or do you run away for your own safety? It is a sign of true selflessness and generosity when you can get yourself into a mindset of wanting to do more for those around you than for yourself. It's not a decision that can be easily made. A lot of factors need to be taken into consideration, and often as quickly as possible. Enacting that choice is harder still, and requires a lot of bravery. But how can this be applied to our lives? It's not like most of us have to find a way to protect a magical empire from a super powerful demon unicorn. The possibilities can range from the mundane to the grandiose and everywhere in between. Here are just a few examples to help you get the idea. Stopping to help the elderly cross the street. Intervening when you know someone is abusing a family member. Taking the keys away from a friend who's not safe to drive. Volunteering in your community. Taking the time to learn about your political representatives and make sure that they are acting non-corruptly within your interests. These things and more all require personal sacrifice of some kind and are potentially dangerous. But it's here that we try to remove ourselves from the equation. Because when we see someone who needs help right away, it's no longer about us. This can also be applied to the themes that were imbued by the character of King Sombra. An immaterial presence that takes away our ability to fight, cripples us by bringing forth our worst fears and insecurities, taking away our memory of what made us strong, and putting a multitude of obstacles at every turn in our path, thus making our goals impossible for a normal person to reach. How many people do you know that face these kinds of depression? Can you recognize the signs around you and come to the aid of your loved ones trapped in their worst fears? Can you do whatever it takes to prove that their fears are unfounded? Being that line of support for someone is extremely important. I've seen the lack of this support be the downfall of too many people. Most of those had quote-unquote friends that could have helped, but instead chose to ignore their friend's need or give up on them when helping became arduous. What if you find your friends facing a real-life high-stakes challenge where they are met with a multitude of obstacles at every turn? Will you take the time to put forth the effort necessary to find a creative solution, or will you abandon the needs of those in your care to save yourself? Do not trust that a situation will work itself out. If someone is reaching out to you for help, it is often because whatever situation they're in is beyond the point of working itself out. Even if the cries for help aren't authentic, make sure that the person will not accidentally put themselves in harm's way, and take the time to set them on the right path. Ignoring these cries for help because you are quote-unquote too busy or otherwise not choosing to have the strength will often lead to dire consequences. When we can help someone in need and choose not to, then we are just as responsible for whatever consequences they suffer. I realized this the first time that I almost lost someone due to ignorance on my part. After that, I always made sure I did whatever it takes as long as it takes whenever I saw someone who needed help. Even when I didn't know the solution to whatever conundrums were presented, I utilize every resource I have to find one. I don't want anyone who's listening to experience this either. But I can confirm from having been on the other side of this equation that revoking your support due to difficulty does not end well. And from my secondhand experiences, I know that it could have been a lot worse. We all have crystal ponies in our lives who are living in a cold world and haunted by an evil shadow. In the Crystal Empire, we saw the main six do whatever it takes to make sure that the shadows were banished and love spread throughout Equestria. I hope that everyone listening can do the same. And that's the moral of the story. If you have any thoughts on this video or would like to hear something discussed, you can leave a comment below or drop comments, questions, topic suggestions, and review suggestions by following Brawny Buck on Tumblr or sending an email to bronydebates@gmail.com. Be sure to check out Irish John's channel for a variety of cool videos and funny super shorts. And be sure to check out Corpulent Brony's channel for some interesting My Little Pony videos and analysis. Also, feel free to check out my Patreon to see how you can support my channel and what you'll get in return. Big thanks to all of those supporting me already. Have a great day, and I look forward to hearing from all of you soon.